Great. So today we are going to look at the limiting factor, make or buy, or shut down decisions. Good. Then we look at pricing and relevant costs. Just that the price and relevant cost, we pick a question and solve under there. Great. Okay. Limiting factor. Analysis. Here we have looked at it under the throughput section. We look at the limiting factor, just that under the throughput, we consider it under the concept of throughput. But over here, we are going to look at under the concept of what? Contribution. Yes, under the concept of contribution. That's the bottom line. So under throughput, we look at limiting factor, but under the concept of what? Throughput. Good. That's the difference. So here, the objective of every organization is to maximize profits or maximize contribution. Just that the resources, sometimes, not even sometimes, resources are always not in abundant supply. So they are what? Limited supply. So the question is, these resources, we call them limiting factors, bottleneck resources, or constraints. So the question is, what will be the combination of the products or of the resources that you have to put together to give you the best or the maximum profits? That is it. So here the underlying factor is contribution. The underlying factor is what? Contribution. Where there is what? Only one limiting factor. If the limiting factors are two or more, then we cannot use the contribution or the throughput analysis to determine the optimum production mix. Then we have to use what we call linear programming. Linear programming. So linear programming will help us to determine the optimum production mix where the limiting factors are two or more. So all the questions that we look at throughput, the limiting factor is only what? One. In reality, might not be like that. You can have several limiting factors. When it comes that way, you have to use linear programming. Some of you are aware of linear programming, but here we will not consider that. Good. So I'll pick a question on that. The steps that we saw under the throughput are also valid here. If we ask you, what will be the combination of outputs that they have to produce in order to maximize their profit using the limiting factor analysis or the contribution analysis? Is the same step. So let's reproduce the 5 steps here. But here, anywhere you see throughput, we have to put contribution there. Because traditionally we have what? Two cost accounting techniques. Marginal. Marginal will tell you that sales minus variable cost must be equal to contribution. The same way, absorption will tell you that, don't worry, sales minus cost of sales should give us what? Gross profit. And then the advanced cost accounting technique, throughput, also saying relax. Sales minus material must give us what? Throughput. Good. So we've looked at the throughput already. So now we are considering what? the contribution. So all the steps that we look at under the throughput, we are going to bring them here. So step 1, to determine the optimum production mix. Optimum production mix. Basically, they are the same. So it's just a reminder. So determine the optimum production mix. So then step 1 will be so under throughput, what are the steps? So we said there are 5 steps. So step 1, determine the limiting factor. So first step, determine what? The limiting factor. That's the step 1. Step 2, over there, calculate what? Throughput per unit. Here, calculate the contribution per unit. Contribution per unit. Then over there, step 3 was determine the throughput per limiting factor. Here it will be contribution per limiting factor. So contribution per what? Limiting factor. Step 4, we rank them. Step 4, ranking. Then step 5, allocation of resources. And then the optimum production mix. So allocation of resources. And then the optimum production mix. So that's the steps. And we look at it and throughput question number 3. So we will pick one question and go through to remind ourselves. Then we move on to make or buy. Good. We move on to make or buy. So let's select one question. Good. Yeah, the throughput question 3. They normally move together. So any question which is valid for throughput, the same question can also be valid for limiting factor. There are sometimes limiting factor analysis we go ahead. Great. So this question we've solved it before. Now check the second requirement. Using the current system of marginal costing and contribution analysis, calculate the profit maximizing monthly outputs. Good. That is the limiting factor. So you go through the same steps as we have here. The same step as we have here to get it done. Okay. Now this question, we do have the solution. We've solved it under the throughput. So I'll not repeat it here again. Instead, we will look at the last sentence question. Good. So let's look at last sentence question to give us a clear picture. Great. Great. So they are here. You can see writing up. Good. So this is the question. A, determine the optimum production plan and state the total contribution that this would yield. Good. Then that's for 10 marks. Then there's B section here. A timber merchant from Takoradi made a proposal to Versus Limited to supply this specialized timber, which is in short supply. By the cost at the cost of what 4 cities 50 pesos per square meter required. Explain the term shadow price. Wow. And identify the shadow price which should be paid per square meter and comment on the acceptability of the offer. Okay. So that is it. Now let's look at the A section. So start by saying Versus Limited is a leading manufacturer of furniture in Ghana. The company manufactures these three garden furniture products: chair, bench, and table. The budgeted unit costs and resource requirements of each of these items are detailed below. Timber cost 5. Direct labor. So timber is what? The direct material. Good. So direct labor costs, they are there. Variable overheads, all of them too there. Fixed overhead costs, so there. Budgeted volumes per unit, that is the sales units. Good. All of them are there. Now, these volumes are believed to equal the market demand of this product. So it means that this is the market demand. The volumes are believed to be equal to the market demand for this product. Fixed overhead costs are attributed to 3 products on basis of direct labor hours. Okay. The cost of timber is 2 Ghana cedis per square meter. Okay. So it will tell you the quantity of timber required for each of the products. So if the timber costs 2 Ghana cedis per square meter, then for a chair, they spend 5 Ghana cedis. So if 5 Ghana cedis, so how many square meter of timber have they used? So it divides, that means 2.5 square meter. Here's 7.5 and here's 5. If you need them. Good. Now let's move on. The products are made from specialized timber. A memo from the purchasing manager advised you that because of a problem with the supplier, this specialized timber is limited to supply of 20,000 square meters. That is the limiting factor. It has been identified. Straightforward. We are done. It has been identified. Timber has been identified. And you know, the resource requirements have not been given to you. Yes. So take note. And this is the exact case in one of the drops. I think the recent one, either the drop 2 or the drop 3, the same thing was stated. The resource requirement wasn't given, but instead we give you the cost so that you get the number of units or the square meters that we are looking for. Good. So take notes. We are done. Now let's see. So we'll go through the steps. Okay, there are more. We are not done. No. There are more. Okay, now let's see. The sales director has already accepted an order Okay, this one will not form part of the A. This one relate to the second, the B. Yeah, this one relate to the B. The sales director has already accepted an order for 500 chairs, 100 benches, and 150 tables, which, if not supplied, would incur a financial penalty of what? 2,000 cedis. 2,000 cedis. This quantity are not included in the market demand estimated above. Good. The selling prices of the three products are as follows. Good. Chair, bench, table, all of them are there. 20, 50, 40 respectively. So determine the optimum production plan and state the total contribution that this would yield. Good. This will yield. Good. Optimum production plan. Now let's see. We are going through the steps. So step 1, step 2, step 3. Let us follow what the steps, and then that is the end. This one was just ended paper. Just ended paper. Good. So now once we are looking for optimum production mix, this will be the steps that we have to follow. Please, anywhere you meet optimum production mix, these are the steps. If they don't tell you anything, you can also use the throughput approach. But the most common one is the contribution. But this question, it was clear for contribution. We are asked for contribution. So calculate the total contribution. So you're going to use the contribution approach. And this is the format. So step 1, determine the limiting factor. You have to do that. Step 2, contribution per unit. You are done. Step 3, contribution per limiting factor. You are done. Step 4, rank them. Step 5, do the allocation. So this alone, please, will score you for 6. Determine the total contribution, will also score you 4. You get your 10 marks. You are done with the game. How you get it? Might not be able to tell you your own, but this is just ended on. So first, second, next, up to the 4, and we are done. So let's go to the question once again. Let's go to the question once again. Let me see the detailed. Determine the optimum production plan. Good. So anyway, you see those words. Advise the company the number of units they should produce, how many, the combination of the units. These are the steps. 5. You are done. So first, good. First, A, optimum production plan. I'll underline it and tell the examiner that the limiting factor is what? Timber. Timber. So that's a step 1. Identify the limiting factor. We have identified the word timber. So let's see. Timber. And they mentioned the timber. How they state it. So the limiting factor is timber. Or specialized timber. So the limiting factor is what? Timber. Good. With the total of 20,000 square kilometers. Kilometers. You measure the square meters, 20,000 square meters. So square meters, 20,000 square meters or meters square. Good. And you are done. So that's the first step. Identify. Here they've already identified in the question that the only challenge that they have with the supplier, or they have challenge with what? The supplier of this specialized timber, which is limited. Great. Let's continue the game. Sorry. So the timber has been identified to be the limiting factor. In situation where they don't give it to you, we've went through series of them. Still, my question 7 and question 8 under the throughput is still outstanding. Good. A gentle reminder. So right from the step 1, the next step is we just have to record the name of the products. There are 3 products. Kitchen stool. Oh, there's no kitchen stool, sorry. Chair, bench, and table. So, chair, bench, and table. Then we are done. Bring your Ghana city, Ghana city, Ghana city here. How we get it? Good. Now we are using contribution approach. So for contribution, we need only 2 items to get our contribution. First, we need the sales or the selling price per unit. Second, we need the variable cost. You are done. Because contribution is equal to what? Sales minus what? Variable cost. That is the contribution. Good. So let's go and pick this item from the question. So from the question, good. The selling price was given at the bottom there. Yes, selling price of the 3 products are 20, 50, 40. So 20, 50, and then 40. Good. 20, 50, 40. 20, 50, and then 40. Good. And then let's go and pick the variable costs. Here there are 2 variable costs. There are 2 variable costs. The 2 variable costs are the timber cost and then the prime costs and then the overheads. These are the 2 variable costs. First, timber, direct labor costs, and then the variable overheads. Good. So that is it. So the timber will be 5, 15, and 10. So 5, 15, and 10. The variable costs are right here. Timber 5, 15, and 10. I'll put them in brackets because I am subtracting the variable cost, so less the variable cost. Second, that is not the only variable cost. So I'll continue. The next one is direct labor costs, which is 4, 10, 8. So 4, 10, 8. 4, 4, 10, and then 8. Let me write down first before I forget about it. So call it what? Direct what? Labor cost. The next one is variable production overheads. Variable production overheads, which is what? 3, 7.5, and 6. So 3, 7.5, and what? And 6. Good. So we call it variable production overheads. Good. I'll put that one too in brackets. Now, what is the contribution? Yes. What is the contribution? Now, the contribution, you can do the table. I'm doing the chess. That'll be 20 less 5 less 5 less 4, then less 3. And that'll give us 8 series. Good. So 8 series. So the first one is what? 8 Ghana cedis. So that's the contribution per unit. The contribution per unit is 8 Ghana cedis. And then for the second one will be that's 50 less 25 less 7.5. And that'll give us 17.5. So 17.5 is the second contribution per unit. Lastly, 40 less 18 less 6, that'll be 24. So that's 16. The last one too is what? 16. So that is the contribution per unit. Then what do you do again? Tell the examiner that we need the limiting factor. So the limiting factor, we have identified the limiting factor to be what? Timber. So timber is the limiting factor. So it means that we have to look for, if they want to produce a chair, how many square meters of timber they need? How many meters of what? Timber would they need for bench and that of table? We are done. That is the limiting factor. And here, they did not give it to us straightforward. Why? Because they give us the timber cost. The cost is what? 5 Ghana cedis. So this 5 Ghana cedis here, when they say the cost of timber is what? 2 cedi per square meter. the cost of timber is 2 cedi per square meter. So that means that 5 cedis, they've multiplied something by 2 cedis before they had a 5 cedi. So what is the square meter? That is the 2.5. So that means you have to divide all these costs by what? 2 cedis before we can arrive at what? The timber that they need. So the first one divided by 2, we get 2.5. Divide by 2, you get what? 7.5 and what? 5. Good. I hope you get that section clear. Yeah, the timber cost. They give us the cost of timber. They didn't give us what? The resource requirement. Don't forget that we said that the limiting factor for examination purposes, we can use raw material as limiting factor, labor and machine hours. These are the three. Yes. Most of your exam question, the limiting factor that we are going to state in a question will be either raw material or labor or machine hour. Even though in reality there are a lot of limiting factors. Good. Sales unit can also be a limiting factor. So here they are using timber, which is what? A material to what they produce. They produce chair, bench, and table. Good. So let's look for the raw material requirement per unit. So here we divide the 5 Ghana cedi there by what? By 2. And we arrive at 2.5. This is in square meters. This is in square meters. Good. So that is it. Square meters. It's in square meters. And then here too we had 7.5. Then here too we had 5. I hope you get it. Good. I can assure you that these are the issues that you have to look out for in questions. Then giving it to you straightforward might not apply. And typical example was in drop, I think drop 2 or drop 3. Yes. Good. Now determine the contribution per limiting factor. So the next stage, that's the step what? Step 3. So contribution per limiting factor. So what's the contribution per limiting factor? Who will help me with that calculation? Contribution per limiting factor. Dividing 8 Ghana cedis by 2.5, we have what we call 3.5. Now, this, if you want to write it in full, it is the contribution per limiting factor into bracket, it's Ghana cedi per square meters. Good. Ghana cedi per what? Square meters. So take note. Ghana cedis per square meters. Good. Then if you divide 17.5 by what? 7.5, you get 2.33333. I like the answer provided. So let's run into 2 decimal places to 2.33. Good. 2 decimal places. If we divide 16 by 5, you get 3.2. I like that. I like this question. I'll tell you why I like it. Now, who will tell me the next stage? So this is the step 3. So step 1, limiting factor. Step 2, contribution per unit. which is here. Step 3, limiting contribution per limiting factor, which is here. So step 4 will be step 4, according to the steps that go down. Step 4, any idea? Good, ranking. So now let's do the ranking. So step 4 is ranking. So ranking. Okay, so which one will be first, second, and third? So which of them will be first? Chair, bench, and table. Which of them will be first? So let me have your rank. Now realize that the chair and table score the same contribution per limiting factor. So the ranking will be start. Here there will be two approach or two different ways that you can do this. First, good. Not because it's first meal. Another first. So second. We are done. That's the rank. Good. So first, and second. That is the rank. So that means chair and table, they must produce those items first. If some of the resources are there, then they should extend it to what? Bench. How we get it? That is the implication, and that is the game. Good. So that is it. Yeah. You realize that is the double, 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 double. Here is 20. Here 2 is 40. Here is 5. Here 2 is what? 10. Here is 4. Here 2 is what? 8. Here is 3. Here 2 is what? 6. Here is 8. Here 2 is what? 16. Here is 2.5. Here 2 is what? 5. So they'll give her the same answer. How we get it? Good. So that's the ranking. We are done. That is the ranking. Or you can also state that either any of them can be first, and then the next one will be second, and then this will be third. Good. So that's the ranking. Don't jump any space. Yes. So we're done with the ranking. Now let's go to step 5, and then we are done with the first half. For how many marks? 6 marks. Now let's go to the allocation of resources and optimum production plan. Then we are done for the first half. So let's keep the rank, the head. In fact, all these steps, what matters is the rank. All the work that we went through, all these 5 steps, the important section is what? The rank. Because we want to know which of them we should produce first, second, third, and last. So don't forget the table that we normally use. The table that we normally use. Don't forget that table. Very good. So rank, the products. But again, the units, limiting factor per unit, total limiting factors. Good. That is it. So this is how I want the format or the presentation to be. It will explain everything. It will answer everything that we need. So first, here we have first, second, we are done. Let us pray hard that these two, the resource will be enough to produce these two. So the remaining one, we use it for this. Other than that, to be trouble. Because if it happens that it cannot produce any of them fully, then which one are you going to rank down again? Because the factor is given us the same. So the first products, in fact, all of them first. So here I can make them table and chair, or chair and table. So chair, table. You can also make it table and chair because all of them are first. The units, I'll do all the two together. What's the demand? The maximum demand. This is 3,500. 3,500, that's the maximum demand. 3,500. Now the issue is this. There was a section to a question. The last bit. So the sales director has already accepted an order for 500 chairs, 100 bench, and 150 table, which, if not supplied, would incur a financial penalty of 2,000. And these quantities are not included. Have you seen the not in capital letters? Not included. You want to be aware that it is not included. They say we should determine the optimum production plan. Good. Optimum production plan. And plan, we are going by what? The budgets. Good. By the budgets. By the budgets. And the total contribution. So the chair, maximum demand or the budgeted rooms per annum per year is 3,500. So that's the demand for the products, 3,005. So let's see. You add the 3,005 here. Good. The 3,005. Yes, the budgeted room per annum. Now, the issue is this. There was a constraint, or there was a demand that we cannot do away with. So that need to be produced first. So what we do is it will increase this demand. When we use this, that means that they'll be ready to pay the penalty. When we use the what? The 3,500, you have to pay what? The penalty of what? 2,000 cedis. Great. So what do we do? If they want to get the maximum demand, then the maximum demand should include all the total. Good. So here we have to what? Include the 500 that they've already accepted to this, so that it will be part of the budget. Everything together, the maximum demand. So we have to be adding the details over there. Good. Just that if you don't add it, like here, for instance, it means the second aspect, when you're calculating the total contribution, we have to less 2,000 from it. That's the what? The penalty, the 2,000 penalty. And that is the game. Good. In short, the extra demand must be added to get the maximum apex. So here will be what? 4,000 chairs, because there are 500 which have not been what? Included. Look at how they write the not in capital letters. So that's not anywhere you see not, you should be added to no. Yeah, because you're looking for maximum demand. Now let's go to the table. What is the maximum demand for the table? Maximum demand for the table. According to the question, the demand is 1,000. That's the 3,000, 1,350, right? It's 1,350. But the special order or the order they've received is 150. So 150 plus the 1,350, that'll give us 1,005, right? Good, that'll give us 1,005. The demand for the table, that's the budgeted volumes per annum, 1,350 under the table. 1,350.
Okay, for the table.
Good.
Okay.
Because table and chair scored first. So I'm doing the two at the same time. So plus the 150, making what? 1,500. Agreed. Good. 1,500. So therefore, here will be 1,500. What is the limiting factor per unit? Here we identify the limiting factor to be what? To be timber. What is the unit of timber required? The unit of timber required for chairs was 2.5, right? So here let's put meter square. Let's put meter square there. That's the unit of what? Measure. So meter square. Here to that square. And here is what? 5, right? Somewhere 5. Agreed. Good. And then the last one will be, let's do the first two. So what will be the total limiting factor? Total limiting factors for that of chair. So 4,000 by 2.5. That will be somewhere 9,000, right? Somewhere 9,000. Agreed. To be somewhere 9,000. Somewhere. Or 10,000. Okay, somewhere 10,000. Wait. Somewhere 10,000. Then table. Table to somewhere 7,500. Good. Somewhere 7,500. Then the last one, we are going to produce what? Bench. So bench will be down to here. For the last one, we told you that don't need to worry. We have to use what? The difference. We have to use the difference. So for the last section, we use the difference. For the last section, we use the difference. So the total limiting factors, they are 20,000 square meters. And we've used 17,500. So let me do what? So levied 3,000 or 2,500. So levied 2,500. A limiting factor per unit for that of bench is what? 7.5. So how many units will this one produce? So 2,500 divided by what? 7.5. It can produce what? 333 units. So 333 units. Good. To the nearest whole number. 333 units. Good. To the nearest whole number. 333 units. And then you are done. So this is the end of the first section. Left the total contribution. So we'll go and calculate what? The total contribution. So it means that definitely you might not be able to meet the order. Yes. Why? Because the 100 benches we won't get. The 100 benches for that of the sales director's order, we might not get it. How we get it? Because the demand over here is 1,009 and we had only 333. So it has short by 33. Good. Now let's provide alternative solution. Alternative. What if we are using without the order? So that we know that if without the order, then here will be 3,500. So which will give us something like 3,005 times 2.5. That will be 8,750, right? I'm just doing this one as an alternative, but it's not okay. Then this one to give us 13,350 by 5. So 13,350 times 5. That's 6,750. So the total is 20,000. The total is what? 20,000. Putting these two together. As plus 8,750. Great. So we will get 8,750 plus what? 6,750. You got 15,500. If you are going by that approach, let me write that one here instead. Yes, I can write it here. 8,750. If you are going solely without the special order, and you be prepared to go and pay that penalty. So here you compare the two. Which of them will give you what? The largest profit or contribution. So here the difference. So less 20,000 be 4,500. Now use this one to produce a 7.5. So 4,500 divided by 7.5. I'll get 600. Good. So that is it. So these are the two options available. Good. So if they are excluding the order from the maximum demand, then we will get 3,500, 1,350, and it will increase this one to 600 units. Good. And that one, they will be prepared to go and pay what? A penalty. Why? Because here we are going to make a clear assumption that it's a fixed amount. Now let's see something here. If you can break it down, you don't need to very much. Yeah, what's the contribution per unit that we had for that of table? What's your contribution? Confirm the 2,000 over there. What's the contribution? In fact, it's a penalty, not contribution. Good. So basically, that is the two approach that we can adopt. Just that we can go ahead and calculate the total contribution at both level, at both end. And then we look at what the one that yield the total or the one that yield the maximum contribution. Then you select that one as the optimum production plan. Optimum, good. And then that is it. Optimum production plan. Okay, now let's go and calculate the total contribution. So now we know the units, both at the both when they produce, when they include the special order in the annual demand, when they will take it off, we know the units, right? So you can now go and calculate what the contribution. So here, I wish we will do two contribution. The one that results the highest contribution, we are done, and that's the optimum production plan. Good. Sometimes, if the gain that we are getting from there is not high, what do? We are aiming to make what the maximum profit or the maximum contribution. So that is the idea. So let's calculate the contribution here. So the contribution will be, where should I do it? Where should we do it? Where should we do it? Where should we do it? Up to this stage, at least 5 months have been solved. So where should we clean? Okay, let me take this section off. Will I be getting them? Chair, table, and bench. So contribution. Our calculate contribution at when we include it as the 4,000 sections and then the exclusion sections. Good. So let's take notes. So let's do the contribution here. So contribution. I like the question. So contribution. Total contribution, right? Let's add a total to it. For example, total contribution. To get a total contribution, we have to look out for the unit produced times what? Times the contribution per unit. See, I'll do 2 at included. So let me do something here, included. Then here is excluded. Don't need to do all this, just to show you a final position. So let's see. So for the first product table, no, check investment. But yeah, the one that you can bring first. So like it. So chair. Open your brackets. Let examine that for chair, it's nothing by you are using the first approach. That's the 4,000 times. What's the contribution per unit? What's the contribution per unit? The one that we calculated. Contribution per unit was 8. No, so times 8 series. Good. 8 series. That will be so 4,000 times 8 series. That will give us 320,000. If I choose the 350, that will be 3,500 times 8. That will be 280,000. Exactly. Now, the next one will be bench. Bench is called last. So the inclusive, you are going to use the 333. Good. So bench will be 333 times, but it's called the contribution per unit 17.5, right? So 17.5. That'll give us 5,827. Agreed. Let's make it 825. Over here it will be 600 times 17.5. That'll give us 10,500. So 10,500. Started seeing difference, eh? Now let's see. The last one, table. Table. Let's see. So table score. Second, if I want to include is 1,500. The 1,500 by a contribution of what? Table. The contribution per unit is good. So 16. That'll give us 240,000. So 240,000. That's inclusive. 240,000 cities. Right. Good. Then if we take it off, we are taking 1,350 by what? 16. That'll give us 200 and what? 16,000. 216,000. Good. Now, even though here we will still pay penalty because we go by this. The bench we had 333. May not be enough to cater for the extra. Good. So now let's see. Total. So total. Let's total them. So here will be, but definitely the inclusive will score more than the exclusive. Definitely. But let's see. So 320, 123 plus 5,828. That is too small for me. Oh. It's too small for me. Plus 240, 123. So it'll be 5, 6, 5, 828. Good. Over here we get what? Put all of them together. We put all of them together. To put all of them together. This is 32,000. Yes. And this one be 28,000. I like that. So 32. So 32,000. And here the value must be 20,000. And then here must be 24. Good. And here it must change, right? But that one is correct. 216,000. Table. Table is the one that we had a 13,350 times. I think it says 16 or so. Table, the contribution is what? Table. Yeah, the contribution is 60. So 21,600. Good. to be 21,600. So 21,600. Yes. So that we can now look at this. Now let's see. Let's add all 32,000 plus 5,828 plus 24,123. That gives us 61,828. 61,828. Let's calculate the total contribution here. So 28,000. Okay. Okay, so 28,000 and then 10,500 plus 21,600. So 6,100. 6,100. How do you get it? So definitely you have to include it. Definitely. Conclusion, you have to include it. Less the penalty. Here we excluded it. So the penalty before 2,000. We are taking 2,000 off. The penalty here will not be up to 2,000. Will not be up to 2,000. The penalty over here will not be up to 2,000. To be minimal. So even without the penalty, so based on this contribution, so it must be included. How we get it? So in exam, you don't need to do this to approach. Just add it so that you can get a total maximum demand. Or you have to get a maximum demand. Assess your organization and then get a total maximum demand. So therefore, this is the total contribution. The total contribution. The total contribution. And then you are done. So therefore, the best approach is that they have to include the demand. So they are asking for total what? Yes, the name suggests total contribution. And here I like the answer. I like how they stated it. And state the total contribution that this will yield. We are done. Good. If you do have any question, kindly let me know. So in short, you have to include it to get the maximum demand. To get the maximum demand. Okay. Now let's quickly scan through the make or buy and then the name shutdown. Then we are done for the day. So in short, we have to include it in our calculation. Okay, the game of the day. Good. So that is the end of the question. So therefore, the optimum production mix will be 4,000 for that of the chair, 1,005 for that of what? The table, and then 3,333 for that of bench. Why? Because they should include it, but they don't have any other resource to go and produce the other demand or the other. Good. Now let's look at make or buy. Make or buy decision and shut down. So I'll do the make or buy and shut down. Then the next one will be pricing and relevant cost. That one I'll pick a question and then I will use that question.
So the selling price is our issue.
The selling price, we use them to calculate the contribution. For this question, there's a B part too. Wow, but not that time. If we try the B part, okay. think I can discuss the B part. It's also important. The selling price, we use it to determine the contribution. That was what we used to determine the contribution. So the selling price given to us is what we use to determine the contribution. Good. Mhm. Okay. I have to scan through the B part too. I don't know the trouble. Explain the term shadow prices. Yeah. Shadow price, also called dual price. Explain the term shadow price. And here we've calculated it. We've calculated the shadow price over here. It's a price per the limiting factor. It's like the contribution that you are getting if you make one unit available. It's like marginal revenue. Shadow price is like a marginal revenue. Now let's define it. Let's define. This one is coming from quantity. It's coming from quantity. Let me just come through them. Then you'll be fine. Let me just come through them. Good. Now, when you talk about shadow price, it is the price or is the value or is the amount. The shadow price is what? Is an amount at which the total profit will change by if one additional unit of the scarce resources is made available. That is shadow price. And this is coming from level 1 quantity. So the quantity that is scrapped off, you're now dropping questions from there. And it's an limiting factor. So shadow price is what? Is an amount at which the amount at which the total profit or total contribution, you can make it total profit or contribution, will change by change. Change means increase or decrease, plus or minus. Change by if there is a change in a unit of the scarce resources. Scarce resources. In short, it is the contribution per the limiting factor. That is shadow price. So another term for shadow price is called contribution per what? Limiting factor. So if we should increase any of the scarce resources by 1 unit, how would the contribution increase by? That is the shadow price. It's very important for decision making because sometimes you can get order to go and sell your scarce resources. The timber that you're not getting something to produce, you can get order to go and sell this timber to outside. Okay, if I use it to produce, my shadow price is what? Maybe 30 Ghana cedis. That means every timber that I use or every square meter of a timber that I use, I'll earn a contribution of 30 Ghana cedis. So if I'm going to sell my timber outside, it will tell me how much I should sell it for. I'll sell it for 35. If somebody quote 35, I'll sell. I won't produce. I won't produce because if I use it to produce, I'll get a what? A profit of 30 or commission of 30. But if I sell, I'll get 35. What if somebody offer 25 cedis? Like, pick it? No, I'll use it. Because if I use it, I will generate what? A shadow price of what? 30 cedis. That is the shadow price. And the same as what? Contribution per limiting factor. The price is what? Shadow. Can also define as an additional contribution as a result of making additional scarce resources available. Good. Now let's see the next question. We are scanning through. Identify the shadow price which would be paid per square meter and comment on the acceptable or the acceptability of the offer. We've looked at it. The shadow price is, who can tell me the shadow price here? Anyone? Yeah, the shadow price is there. Tell me the shadow price that you're talking about. Say, identify the shadow price. It didn't say shadow prices. So one, and comment on the acceptability of the offer. Now let's read the B. B say a timber merchant from Takrady made a proposal to this company to supply this special timber, which is in short supply, but at the cost of what? 4 Ghana cedi per square meter. Now, the shadow price also will inform you how much you should get your input. How much you also get your input. So like the same over here, if when I produce, I'm getting 30 Ghana, and you're going to sell it to me, I'm going to buy the raw material from you. Before me, I'll use it 10 it around. I'll get a profit of 30. So if you're going to sell to me at 35, will I buy from you? I won't buy. I'd rather sell to you. I won't buy. But at 25, you're going to sell to me at 25, what do I do? I'll buy. Then move on. How we get it? So shadow price, in fact, we use it for decision making. I have a lot of uses. One, for decision making, to determine the selling price and then the unit to be produced. Good. So now let's see. So this one you are solving it all. Now somebody have offered them to sell the timber, just timber. Timber to them at what? Yes, 4 cedi, 50% per square meter. Should they accept the offer? Should they accept the 4 cedi, 50%? Before they should accept it, you have to compare it to what? The limiting factor per unit. What's the limiting factor? Okay, the limiting factor for that of, now here, the question was in two folds. First, identify the shadow price, which should be paid. Which should be paid per square meter. For the shadow price becomes the actual value that you'll be willing to pay. Is the actual value that you'll be willing, because if I use it, I'm getting 30. I will not be prepared to pay more than 30 for it. Either I'll pay 30 to break even or pay less to gain, to make profit. That is it. Now let's identify this in the question. In fact, it's the last one, the product that scored last. Is the product that scored last. So what is the limiting factor per unit for that of the last product? The one that scored third. Or the one that scored, what's the value there? Per unit. No limiting factor per unit for that of bench. Good, 2.33. So they have to reject it immediately. They have to reject that offer immediately. Why? Why? The shadow price is what? 2.33. When they use it to produce, they are getting a return of what? 2.33. Meanwhile, you are saying you're going to sell to them at what? 4 cedis, 50 pesos. Should I accept that offer? No, I will not accept it. Here, they are going to buy, they are not selling. Shadow price, can you assess when you are selling your scarce resources or when you are buying your scarce resources? Here, somebody said, okay, a timber manufacturer said, okay, me, I can supply this timber to you at 4 Ghana cedis per square meter. And you are considered to accept that offer. No, you don't accept it. Why? Because this timber that I'm buying from you, even if I use it, I'm getting a return of 2.33. Why should I buy from you at what? 4 cedis, what? 4.5. Now the issue is this. There are 3 items that you have to compare. Now, if you take the bench, what is the cost of the yes? Here, we are buying it at what? We are buying it at 2 cedis. That's the cost of the the timber. The cost of timber is 2 Ghana cedis. Good. Here, the limiting factor is 7.5. The limiting factor is what? 7.5. Good. But you are looking for what? We are looking for contribution per limiting factor. That's what you are looking for. The contribution per limiting factor is the same as the shadow price of each product. And normally it's the one that scores last if they are ranks. Good. So we compare that one to how much the guy is going to sell to us. You are selling to us at what? 4 cedi 50 pesos. I will not buy. Why? Because if I use it, I'm getting 2 cedi 33 pesos. I should buy it at 4 Ghana cedis. Even see on the market, you are buying it at 2 cedis and you are selling it at 4 cedi 50 pesos. Good. Here we are comparing to this. This is the comparison. Compare it to this. So therefore, we are done. Why? Because the return per unit contribution is what? Is lesser than the cost that they are stating it at. And hence, they are not going to accept the order. We are done with that section. So are we saying that that section is a bit okay? Okay. This section is the pricing. C. Require determine the optimum selling price for the bed. Optimum selling price. Optimum selling price. Okay, the same company has just decided to produce a new line of item, namely bed, that can be sold in 8 retail shops throughout the country. It has provided you with the following information concerning the total cost of annual production and then the prices in which the production cost could be sold. Total cost, selling price. Good. Total cost, selling price. Optimum selling price. Here, you can use several approach. Several. First, you can use emulation by wrong tactics. What do you do? First, you can calculate the profits and then you select the one with the highest profit. Good. Have you seen the total cost is in value 1,000 and selling price is per unit, right? So you quickly find the total revenue at each point and then you find the total profit. The one that gives the highest one, you are done. The optimal selling price is that figure. There's no need for you to worry. Here, there's no calculation here. All you have to do is this. Just multiply. You just have to multiply 70.8 times 2,500. Then you take the total cost from it for individual, all of them. When you're done, the one that gives you the highest profit, that's the optimum selling price. If you use formulas, you get the same answer, and then you are done. That is all. And that's the end of this question. Going forward, 20 marks. And your case 2 will be 20 marks. There must be a question on short-term decision-making techniques for 20 marks. This sitting or last sitting, there was no break-even. So your 10 break-even can be for help. So focus on break-even. Good. And then make or buy and shut down, like what you're going to do today. Yes. Now let's quickly go through the shutdown and then make or buy to end the game. To end the game. So kindly try it for me and then let me know which one of them is the optimum. Great. Now let's continue the game. So make or buy. That's the next topic. Make or buy. Make or buy decisions. Make or buy. Or buy. Yeah, at what instance should you have to outsource the production of your goods to a different company, or at what point you have to produce them in-house. That is the make or buy decision. So not just everybody sending the product out. So you are sending your own out. No, there must be a base or a reason. So basically, that is the make or buy decision. Yeah, there are so many assumptions that we are going to move through. Then we look at the exam focus. Good. Okay. Now, but unfortunately for us, this is how far the good Lord will bring us. So therefore, we will continue this in the subsequent lecture video. So on Thursday, we will look at the make or buy. So on Thursday, critically, I'm looking at three. In fact, all the small smudge, you have to clear them on Thursday. So on Thursday, we have to look at the make or buy, shut down, and then the pricing. Yes, have to talk about pricing. But the question that we solved wasn't pricing. No, it's not pricing question. It's a general question. Then relevant cost. Relevant cost. So on Thursday, I think we will scan through all of this so that you have a fair idea of all of them. Good on Thursday. So thank you very much for coming and doing the listening. Good. So we will meet on Thursday. Good. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done that, and like and share the link. Thank you all.